me explain why you feel tired, bored, and unmotivated due to dopamine. See, dopamine is a chemical created in our brain that's linked to pleasure, reward, and motivation. It's also mandatory for survival. Without dopamine, you'll die. And we know this because they did a study with rats. The rats were engineered to have no dopamine. And basically what they did was they took food and they put it a body's length away from the rat. So the rat, the length of the rat, food. What ended up happening was the rats that had no dopamine, they starved to death because they weren't motivated enough to go forward and eat the food. In today's world, dopamine is released anytime you do anything that's pleasurable. So you eat a donut, you eat something that tastes good, you scroll on social media, you play a video game, you watch TV, you watch porn. Any of these things that you feel pleasure from release dopamine. Dopamine is the reason you feel pleasure. Now, pleasure is co-located in the brain with pain. I want you to think of it as a scale, a pleasure-pain scale. The way it works, you do one of these activities. Let's say you scroll on social media, you eat food, play a video game, watch porn, whatever. Dopamine's released onto the pleasure side. The scale gets tipped, and the brain doesn't like this. The brain doesn't like when the scale is tipped too far to either side, so it's going to respond by basically self-regulating and creating pain. But not only is it going to create pain to balance the scale, it's going to create an equal amount to tip the scale the equal amount to the other side. This is what happens when you drink alcohol. So you're sober, then you're drinking, and then this is basically the hangover. So to simplify it, you do something that feels good, you get pleasure, the brain responds by creating pain, quote unquote pain. Whether this is a hangover, whether it's a headache, whether it's boredom, anxiety, whatever, it's going to be pain of some sort. The same is also true for the reverse. So if you do something that is quote unquote hard or painful, the brain is going to respond in the same way. So you do something that's painful, the brain's going to respond by releasing dopamine to put pressure on the pleasure side. So a great example of this is if you take a cold shower, you take a cold plunge, or you put yourself through a difficult workout. It's hard at first, but then it ends up with you feeling more pleasurable at the end. Something else to know about dopamine is it can be depleted. And when it's depleted, that's when you feel tired, bored, and unmotivated. And the reason it gets depleted is because we're filled in a world with so many quote-unquote quick hits of dopamine. You can eat any sugary food you want, you can scroll on social media as long as you want, you can play video games, watch TV, watch porn. We're filled with opportunities to create dopamine. And not only is this dopamine quote-unquote easily hittable, but it's also very short-lived. Meaning that eating the cookie or eating the donut, scrolling social media, it doesn't last for hours. You do it for about 5 minutes and then you feel mediocre afterwards. Whereas with things like this, you take a cold plunge, you take a cold shower, you do a hard workout, this pleasure, this dopamine is going to be longer lasting compared to you scrolling social media or you eating the sugary food. So if you're constantly feeling tired, bored, or unmotivated, take a look at where your dopamine is coming from. Are you getting it primarily from social media, video games, porn, and sugary foods? Or are you getting it from like cold plunges, workouts, eating nutritious food, and doing actual difficult things? Because if you're getting it this way, you're going to deplete your dopamine. If you're getting it this way, your dopamine is going to be longer lasting and it's not going to be depleted.